Hi, I'm Blair Gilbert here for MrHardware.com and Gilbert's Pro Hardware in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, here to talk about how to cut plexiglass without melting or chipping it. You can cut it with a jigsaw, but it's much easier to cut it with what's called a plexiglass cutter. A utility knife does not cut plexiglass. With my jigsaw and piece of plexiglass, standard thickness, single strength plexiglass, like we're going to fix the back window, we're going to put this in a picture frame. When you cut with the jigsaw, the blade's vibrating and it's easy for it to grab the plexiglass and cause it to fracture or break. It also allows the plexiglass to melt behind the cut as I'm going, as I will demonstrate here. The other thing about cutting the plexiglass is, when you're cutting it on a workbench, you have to hold your line right on the edge of the workbench. If you get it out too far and the plexiglass starts to wiggle or chatter, it will break. So we're going to show you this way, then we're going to show you an easy way to cut a straight line with plexiglass without a power tool. Okay, it broke. The 6-tooth per inch jigsaw blade. Now you gotta be careful, you have to keep the blade near the edge of the countertop when you're cutting the material, but you'll see that this will get the cut down. As long as I don't let the plexiglass chatter, it's going to give me a little nicer cut without as much meltage going on. So here's what happens. The plexiglass has melted behind my cut and glued itself back together, which is kind of a pain, especially as the melted chips get in the way of the shoe of the tool and you're pushing along and you can't continue. You can cut it with a jigsaw, but it's much easier to cut it with what's called a plexiglass cutter. This is a draw knife. So what happens is when you pull it across the plexiglass, it is actually going to remove some of the plexiglass and put a V-groove in the plexiglass so that when you do it, you can do 2 or 3 strokes, put a V-groove in, and break the plexiglass off without a power tool. We need a nice straight edge. Take the tool, and we push down just moderately hard the first pass. And you heard it removing a little bit of plexiglass. I like 3 cuts. The second 2 passes, usually 3 passes. The second 2 passes I can push a little harder because there's already the first groove has been established. And see how nice it breaks right off. When in doubt, make more cuts. The more cuts, the deeper you go, the easier it is to break off the piece. So when you're cutting plexiglass, invest the few bucks in a little tool that is going to draw, that is actually called a plexiglass cutter. This is not a knife. A utility knife does not cut plexiglass because it does not remove a V-groove out of the plexiglass. A plexiglass cutter will. So you can use a power tool, but get a plexiglass cutter and a straight edge and you can cut plexiglass with no problems safely.